Before he was legend, he faced the dragon and was forged in fire and blood. This is the tale of Siegfried, the dragon slayer of the Rhine. How steel, flame, and fate combined to shape the hero who would stand at the dawn of Teutonic legend. Join me as we witness the transformation of a young prince driven by desire and destiny, a warrior whose courage would echo through the ages. It was an age when the old pagan gods had fallen silent, though their shadows still lingered in the mountains and the rivers of the north. Between the forests of the Franks and the wide sea of the Saxons, men sang of heroes who could no longer call upon Odin or Thor, yet still bore their fire within. It was a time of transition, when pagan souls wore Christian armor, and the echoes of Valhalla still whispered beneath the tolling of new bells. Kingdoms rose and crumbled along the Rhine, where warriors measured honor in blood and kingship by the strength of their oaths. In such a world, glory was the nearest thing to immortality, and Siegfried sought nothing less. Born to kings, yet restless beneath their halls, Siegfried sought not a throne, but the proving ground of heroes. Tales of monsters and cursed gold had reached his ear. Whispers of a dragon that no blade could pierce, whose death would grant eternal renown. And so he rode east, alone, following whispers that thickened into rumor, and rumor that hardened into truth. Days turned into weeks as he crossed the wild reaches of the realm. He passed through villages that watched him in silence, doorways shuttered, hearthfires dimmed. For men whispered that where Siegfried rode, the old powers stirred again. Slowly, the roads gave way to narrow paths, then to no paths at all. At a long-neglected shrine half swallowed by moss, he paused to rest his horse. The gods' names had long been worn from the stone, yet the air still carried a heaviness, as if the forgotten deities waited for a prayer they could never hear. Siegfried laid a coin upon the altar and spoke not to the gods but to himself. If the age of heroes is ending, then let me be the last to bear its fire. As he rode on, wolves watched from the ridges, eyes catching the light of a pale sun. The world grew quieter the farther he went, as though creation itself held its breath for what was to come. At last he found it, a wound in the mountainside, vast and lightless, breathing heat with every sigh of the wind. Around its mouth lay bones, some bleached by sun, others charred black, the remains of kings perhaps, or fools who had sought the same glory. Siegfried dismounted and stood before the cavern, the weight of his sword heavy in his hand. No song, no prayer, only the silence of a man who knew that the moment before him would decide whether he was to be forgotten or remembered forever. And from the depths of that darkness he heard it, the rumble that was not thunder, but breath. The dragon was waking. The ground trembled as the beast stirred. Smoke poured from the cavern's mouth, thick and stifling, glowing faintly from within. Then came the eyes, vast, lidless, burning gold, and a sound like the tearing of the world as the dragon emerged. Its scales shimmered like molten metal, its breath searing the stones to glass. Siegfried raised his shield as the first blast of fire struck, the heat singeing his hair and charring the ground beneath his boots. The air itself seemed to scream. Yet he did not falter. Step by step he advanced, his sword gleaming with reflected flame. When the beast lunged, he turned aside and struck, steel meeting scale in a shower of sparks. The blow glanced harmlessly away, and the dragon's laughter echoed through the cavern, low and terrible. In that moment, Siegfried felt a voice inside his mind, ancient and cruel. Another child of men come seeking gold, or glory. The thought carried with it a warning, cold as ash. Every name bought with blood is remembered in sorrow. He gritted his teeth, casting aside doubt, and drove forward. With a cry he leapt, plunging his blade beneath the creature's throat. Fire erupted around him, his shield melted, his hair caught flame, but still he pressed on until his sword found the hollow between scale and bone. With a final roar that split the mountains, the dragon shuddered and fell. The cavern roared with silence. The air stank of blood and smoke. Siegfried stood over the fallen beast, his armor blackened, his breath ragged. Then he saw it, the dragon's golden blood pooling around him, steaming as it cooled. In that moment, he remembered the tales. That whoever bathed in such blood would be protected from harm, knowing no wound of either iron or fire. Without hesitation, he knelt and pressed his hands, his arms, his body into the molten stream. Pain like no mortal flame consumed him, yet when it passed, his skin shone, taut and unbroken. The blood hissed upon the earth, whispering secrets in a voice only he could hear. For an instant, he thought he understood the cries of the ravens circling above. Words carried on the wind like prophecy, warning of a fate yet to come. But unbeknownst to Siegfried, a single leaf, fallen from the trees above, clung to his shoulder as he stood. And beneath it, untouched by the blood, remained one mortal place. When the fires dimmed, Siegfried ventured deeper into the cavern, following a faint glimmer that pulsed like the heartbeat of the mountain itself. The air grew colder as he descended, and the light of his torch wavered on walls that seemed to breathe with the memory of flame. He passed carvings worn into the stone, figures of kings and beasts locked in endless battle, their eyes hollow yet watchful. At last he reached the hoard of the Nibelungs, mountains of gold piled high inside the cavern's walls, chalices crusted with gems, and blades whose names had long been forgotten. Jewels burned like frozen stars, casting pale fire over the cavern floor. It was a place where beauty and terror converged, where every coin seemed to whisper of hands that had died to claim it. Among the mounds of treasure stood a black throne, and upon it lay a cloak crafted with impossible precision, woven of shadow and starlight, light as smoke and cold to the touch. When Siegfried drew it about his shoulders, the air itself seemed to recoil. The torchlight dimmed. His reflection vanished from the golden surfaces around him. For the cloak rendered its wearer unseen. He took it as a token of victory, not knowing it would one day hide more than his flesh. On a mound beside him lay a ring, simple yet gleaming with a strange inner fire. Siegfried lifted it, and the metal felt alive, pulsing faintly against his skin. He turned it once in his hand, and for an instant thought he heard a whisper, a voice like breath drawn from deep within the earth. The sound spoke no words he knew, yet carried a sorrow so vast it chilled his heart. When it faded, only silence remained. He looked back upon the hoard, a sea of gold sleeping in the half-light, and for the first time felt something like fear. This was no mortal treasure, but the inheritance of gods and monsters. Still, he gathered what he could carry and made his way toward the mouth of the cave, where dawn now crept through the mist. Siegfried left the cavern as the morning sun broke across the mountains. The dragon's blood dried upon his skin. Behind him, the treasure of gods and monsters slept once more, and with it, the first echo of the fate that would one day claim him. He rode westward, through valleys veiled in mist and forests heavy with silence. Smoke still lingered in the air, a ghost of the battle that had shaken the earth. Where he passed, villagers came to their doors in awe, crossing themselves or bowing low, unsure whether they looked upon a man or something born of older fires. Children whispered that his eyes glowed like embers when the light caught them just so. By night he camped beside quiet streams and listened to the wind moving through the pines. In its murmur he thought he heard the same whisper that had followed him from the cavern, a voice that asked no questions and offered no praise, only the reminder that no victory is without its price. When at last he reached the wide waters of the Rhine, he dismounted and stood upon its banks. The river's current caught the morning light and shimmered like molten silver. Siegfried gazed into its depths and saw his reflection ripple and vanish, as if even the river refused to remember the face of one who had slain a dragon. He knelt, dipped his hand into the water, and let the chill bite through his calloused skin. "If the gods are watching," he murmured, "then let them know their silence has been answered." The current whispered softly against his boots, as though carrying that defiance downstream to the sea. Far to the south, beyond the river's bend, lay the halls of Worms, bright in the sun, alive with song. It was there his path would next lead him, and there that love and doom would weave their snare. And in those same halls, a maiden named Kriemhild dreamed of a falcon soaring high above the walls, only to see it struck down by a cruel hawk. She woke in tears, not knowing that the dream had already taken flight toward her heart. Thus ends the first song of Siegfried, the forging of a hero, and the first stirring of a fate that even steel could not withstand. The old gods may have fallen silent, but their echoes still wander the valleys and rivers of the north, whispering of courage, betrayal, and the cost of glory. If you've enjoyed this journey into the mists of Teutonic legend, please leave a like and subscribe for more epic folklore. Siegfried's journey has only just begun. The rest of his story is revealed in our series, Echoes from Valhalla. These ancient tales of Siegfried are preserved in one of the great epics of medieval German literature, the Nibelungenlied. To read it in full in English, check the links in the description below. Thank you for joining me today. Until next time.